What up, guys? Welcome to Music Blueprint. My name is Gina Fontanella, one of the co-founders of Music Blueprint. And today I am super excited because I have one of my really, really close friends on the show, Lauren Spencer Smith. Yay! So Lauren and I, just a little background, we met on American Idol. And you already know I'm going to tell the story. It truly bonded us. And you were a little jerk. But not really, because I found it funny. But
I didn't mean it like this.
Lauren and I we really met in Hollywood Week and like had some interactions in Hollywood Week, but there's so many people there that, the two interactions we had, I was like, oh, this girl's funny. Like, I was like, she seems pretty cool. And then we're top 40. We find out we're top 40. Woohoo, whatever. Lauren's a minor, so the minors and like the adults were kind of separated a lot of times because they had to do school. So anyways, we all go to Hawaii. We're top 40. I realized really quickly that I would much rather be friends with the minors. So I started hanging out with the minors and their parents, which is kind of weird because I'm literally smack in the middle age-wise between the two of them, which is funny. But anyways, we put on our performance. We do this great show. And Lauren kicks butt, I kick butt. And we're finding out the verdict. I basically find out. Lauren finds out first. Actually, you found out first. You found out first that she makes it. And then I was, of course, at the end. They always put me at the end. And I find out, oh, I'm going home. I didn't make it. And Lauren's like, oh, man, that's such a bummer or whatever. And then she goes, but make sure to vote for me.
So bad.
I think if you would have said that to anybody else, they would have been
hated
so
me.
upset. They would have been so upset. But literally from the bottom of my heart, I was like, this is my girl for life. The fact that she just gets me and understands me. But anyways, okay, Lauren, maybe some people know you, maybe some people don't. Lauren's a pretty decent influencer. But tell the people how you got started. What was your beginning? I know on American Idol you talk about it, but for the people that don't know who you are, why don't you just give a little background on how you got started in music?
Okay. I mean, initially, like a lot of other singers, just like I always sang as a kid and I was sang in the car, I was sang like around town. But my first like performance, really big performance in front of people that made me realize I wanted to do music was I entered a competition to sing with Keith Urban at like a super huge country musical festival that we have, whatever.
Yeah.
And I entered the competition, but I lost and some other girl won. But then Keith Urban and his managers called my parents and they were like, Keith still wants to sing with her. Like, does she know any other songs? And so I sent a list and then we ended up getting to go and like meet everyone in his crew and like just meet him and, his family.
Wow.
And so then I ended up singing and I was 11 at the time. This was like in 2015 because I'm still a child.
Still a baby today. Yeah. Literally today, she just got her license. Look out, road. Look out. Lauren's on the prowl.
And then, so I sang with him, and like just being on the stage, there was like 20,000 people there and I was 11. And it was just crazy. Like in that moment, I was like, I'm doing this for a living. Like that is just crazy to be in front of that many people.
I know.
And then for a while, I was just kind of posting on social media and not really making it a main focus. I was working a lot, other like part-time jobs. And then I just started uploading to social media like a lot. And then I had my one big video that blew up. And it was just me singing with my dad in the car. It was really not meant to be recorded, not meant to be posted. And
it wasn't literally, literally you said you were like, I had no makeup on, my hair, like you were like, I was looking.
The beginning of the video, I'm like, bro, I look so ugly. And everyone just started saying you're ugly. And I was like, I didn't know this is going on social media.
Yeah, I didn't
promote like confidence on my page.
Right, exactly. You're like, oh, body positivity. Bro, I'm so ugly.
Literally, it's so bad.
That's so bad. Funny. Oh, so first of all, what was it like being 11? Now reflecting back, being 11 and being on a stage with 20,000 people. Like before that moment, had you performed anywhere near to that? Like even like 1,000? Had you performed in front of 1,000 people or 500 or?
Yeah, like I want to say like 500 people. There was always like a local festival that I entered every single year, but that was like the biggest audience I had done.
Right.
Yeah.
That's so freaking crazy. I can't even think, like, when I think back to when I was a kid, I mean, I always performed in front of people, but never that many people.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't until I was like 18 or 19 that like I went to Africa and I did like a missionaries trip thing, and I performed in
Yeah.
front of like 3,000 kids. But that was like really raw. There was like no no mic, no nothing. It was like me and my guitar, and my team was like, "You sing, go on out there." And I was like, it was very weird at the time. And then as I got older, bigger and bigger stages happened. But I can't really think back to like being 11 and that happening, and then freaking singing with my like the star that like I've looked up to.
Yeah, literally. I mean, if I'm being honest, I told Keith this too. At the time, my stepmom was like a huge Keith Urban fan, and I
Mm,
hated country music. I am like lover of country music. One of my favorite genres. Like if you are in my car, that's all I'm listening
right.
to now. But at the time, I was like, I hate country music, and she was like, you need to join this contest, and I was like, I don't like Keith Urban. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm not entering it. And then they convinced me into it. They were like, everything's an opportunity. And I was like, okay, like
Right.
true, I'm gonna enter it. And I was like, I'm not gonna like get anything from it. Like I'm 11. There's like 100,000 submissions. Like it's whatever.
Wow, that's
And then
crazy. Oh my
and then
god.
as
Okay.
I entered it, then I started to get really into it, and it's like, okay, like now I want to win. I was like watching
Right.
everybody else's videos and like,
Right.
and then after I sang with him, then I like became like an immediate country fan. I learned like every single one of Keith Urban's
Right.
albums, and now I'm like, I wish I could go back loving him as much as I did, because I
Right.
was so casual. Like I was like, being 11, you don't realize that there's 20,000 people in front of you. Like even
Right.
performing on American Idol, I'm like, wow, like you're like, oh my goodness, there's people out there I need to impress. Like when you're 11, like
Right.
I didn't care like about my weight, what my hair looked
Yeah,
like
nothing.
makeup,
You're
like
just like, I just
you
want to
don't
sing.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was just so casual. Like I was like, hey Keith, like there was a moment that I was like, oh my goodness, like that's Keith Urban, like that's so cool. But like I was
Right.
just casually in front of 20,000 people, just like
Right.
vibing, and I'm like, how did I control myself?
Right. I just love though that you're like, I wasn't a Keith Urban fan. Then I entered this Keith Urban competition. And then they're like, do you like Keith Urban? I love him.
Yeah,
He's my all-time favorite artist.
literally, it was like name your. You had to like in the submission, I think you had to write like your favorite country songs. I'm like googling like best country. I was writing like all
Stop.
this Carrie Underwood stuff. Like I probably only knew like the Doug McKean. Those were the
Right.
only country song I
Oh
knew
my
at the
God.
time.
The basic country songs. Wow. Okay, so that happens. Then you kind of go through like a dry spell because you're
Hmm.
working, right? Then you said you started like really picking up on content. And then what did that look like during that time? Like, were you posting 2 times a day, 3 times a day, or just like once a day, every day, nonstop, like for a year or like 2 years, or what was it?
Yeah, I mean there was definitely a chunk of time I didn't post at all.
Mm,
And then right before my viral video, I was just kind of posting every second day. I mean, right
mm,
now I try to make sure I post more than that, but I was just posting every second day, sometimes even only once a week because I was just busy. But I
mm.
would go out and like make a bunch of videos and then, post them as the time came.
Right.
Um, and then one just blew up, and then instantly I was like, okay, we got to post. We got to
All
keep
the
posting
time.
and get that content out
Right.
there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that was you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that was really like what set the tone for everything for
Yeah.
you. Like
Hmm.
literally that popped off and it was like, okay, now I have like merch and like brand deals
Hmm.
and like my singles that are like cover songs and stuff are like popping off on Spotify. I mean, it was like literally went across the board on every social media platform.
Yeah, like even everything I've done since that video, like since has come from the video. Like even American Idol, like they reached out to me because of that video, and like going on Steve Harvey's talk
Right.
show, like was from the video. Like every
Right.
producer and most of the writers I've worked with is like initially from that video. Like if that video didn't happen, I would not have a career. I would not be
Right.
making money. Like
You
it's
would
crazy.
still have those things. I would be curious though if it didn't happen, if something else just wouldn't have popped off for you.
True.
You know what I
True.
mean? Like, because if had already decided, okay, I'm posting every other day, like I'm being consistent about it, and then I think there's something like we talked about this literally like a couple days ago in our session, like how the focus is not It's not about like what video can I create to make it go viral. It's
Yeah.
more about how can I consistently put out content, and then I'm hoping that one of them goes viral.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think you at that, especially at that point, I mean, I've watched that video and it was like the rawest video ever. Like you would never think in terms of how you think as a content creator of what would go viral. It's always the things that you never think will go viral are the ones that just pop off.
It's always the ones that are like, if you try in any video, like,
People are like,
no,
no.
no, we don't like it. You're too good. You're not gonna
Yeah.
be viral.
Nope.
Like, it has to be like me watching that video is like ear wrenching. Like I'm like, oh, like it's like the Arizona sky. And I'm like, oh, off note. And I'm just like, I can't even listen to it. But people like natural and people like being raw because that's so
Yeah.
much of the music industry isn't like that anymore, right?
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
people like that. But I just didn't think it would happen so young. Like I was still at that time, I was working like 5 days a week, like so many hours. And I always just kept telling myself, like, you're working right now because you're going to be 19, 20 and move to LA. And, I was
Right.
planning on pulling like a sing outside the record label so somebody
Mhm.
picks me up type vibe.
Old
Like
school. Wow. You were really thinking old school. Holy crap. She's
Literally.
going back to the 70s.
Yeah, I wasn't even thinking of emailing people. Like I was just like, I'm gonna stand outside and
I'm gonna
then
go
it just
outside the radio
happened.
station.
And like being 15 when that happens, like you're not even ready for like the mental wave that's about to throw at you.
Right.
And it was just like I didn't think it would happen so young. I knew it would happen. I just didn't think it would happen so young.
Yeah. What has been the hardest thing when that did happen? What was the hardest thing for you to adjust to?
I want to say like going to school in a
Oh,
sense,
okay.
like the people
Interesting.
around me, like definitely at the time, once I started to release singles and make money, I got to quit my job. So
Mm.
just like handling, trying to post content and going to school and working every single day after school. And I had like interview after interview. I was like asking my manager if I could go on a break to go sit at one of the booths in the back to do an interview and then like go back to work. Like
Right.
that was really hard to deal with. But once I quit my job, that was fine. And that was not really like a lifelong adjustment. But I want to say, I found that a lot of people, I don't want to say people get jealous, but that's just the nature of a lot of people in high school, I feel.
Right.
And when I instantly started, gaining a lot of followers, like all my teachers found out, everyone at the school, and it was kind of a big thing that was talked about. And it was either people either loved me and were so supportive, or it was like
Or
the
hate.
complete opposite.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't. I've always been a confident person. Like you can throw things at me and I'm gonna bounce back up and be like, I don't care about your words. But to have so much hate in the comments and in your DMs and just random people emailing you saying that you're chubby and stuff like that, like it was so much at once, especially being 15 and going to high school.
Right.
Like I was like, I could not take it. I swear I was like in a depression.
Oh my gosh.
I was not doing well
Man.
at all. Like
yeah.
not at all. And like looking back, I don't think I realized at the time how bad I was doing. And now looking at my life and how happy I am now and how like mentally like confident and just like how I'm doing, I'm like, wow, like you are not in a good mental state, but it's just an adjustment that you have to get used to. And it sucks that I was in a very vulnerable state at the time that I went viral too. I just had a lot going on at home and it was just like not a good time to go viral, but it was.
Right. It was great, but it was the best of parts and the worst of parts, basically.
Yeah. Like
what
that
was
year
the thing?
Was the best and worst year of my life.
what was the thing that pulled you out of that? Like, for instance, like 2019. I know we all want to say 2020 was like really bad, but 2019 was like horrible for me. It was so bad. I'm like, good God, nothing could go right. It felt like every relationship I had was crumbling. And I was like, what is going on? What is this like shambles of my life? And one of the things that I decided to do just to kind of get me out of my funk was I came up with this concept of like 30 and 30. And I just did, I can't remember the first one I did. I think I did like 30 days, like no carbs or something. And it was just kind of a joke. Like, I'd be like, okay, it was serious. Like I didn't do carbs for 30 days, but also like I would make little funny videos of like, zooming in on my junk drawer. Like everybody has a junk drawer. And I'd be like, I'd be like, oh, I just, carbs are in there. I'd make these like little jokes with like hot Cheetos and like all these different things. And it kind of got me out of my funk because it made me forget about all the crap that was going in my life. So what was
Mhm.
like the thing that kind of pulled you out of it? Because we really went through it again with American Idol. Like I would say most of the comments in American Idol were positive, but I like released a video of like the behind the scenes of American Idol and
Oh yeah.
literally got roasted. I mean, it was like every other comment. People were saying, you're just sour that you got cut. You weren't as talented. Like, you sucked. Like, all these different
Yeah.
things. And I was like, Jesus. God
I
help
found
me.
when I got to American Idol though, I was at a point like
Yeah.
I did have like 300K on Facebook and like
Mm.
I had like 80,000 on Instagram. So I felt like I was at a point I had like surpassed for like,
Right.
you know, letting the hate get to me. So
Yeah.
I was just really lucky at that point because I knew a lot of the other minors, a couple of them had followers too, but I knew
The
that
minors
was
were
gonna,
hold on. The
yeah.
minors had the following. Literally, look, I'm just going to say this because probably nobody that was on American Idol will see this. But the fact of the matter is the people that were the saltiest, that had the worst attitudes, were the people that had no following. The people that
Yeah.
had the best attitudes, didn't care what time they had to wake up, were excited to be there,
Yeah.
had all their crap together, were the minors, and they had the biggest following. I mean, like, collectively, I think you guys had like 3 million followers or something like that. It was stupid. It was so dumb.
I found that like I think this is like an overall view of me and all the minors is that like ageism, like all, especially
Mm.
Hollywood Week, like we found that people wouldn't purposely judge us on our age and be like, oh, they're not going to go through, but like just be like, oh, like I'm 27 and she's only 16, like there's no way she's on my level. And like
Mm.
we were like, okay, we're going to be on time every day. We're going to prove everybody wrong
Right.
and show them that like age does not matter. And like
Oh,
we
yeah,
totally
for
did that.
sure.
And everyone was like, oh, these minors, like,
These
what are you
minors
gonna
were
do?
crazy. Like, I wish even the minors that didn't make top 40 were like significantly better
Yeah.
than most of the people there. I mean, there was what was that one girl from Kansas? She was like a redhead and had this raspy, like southern
Haley.
voice.
Haley.
Yes.
I
Holy
love her.
crap. Like, there was just people like that you're like, what in the world? And then you think like, oh, okay, well, the minors have like big voices or like a cool aesthetic. And you would think, well, like, I can sing runs better than them, right? Like, I've got 10 years of experience. Like, I'm not talking about myself because I'm not a run singer, but I'm talking about the run singers that were
Yeah.
in American Idol. And you would be like, they can outrun any minor. And then you get someone like Michaela,
Yeah.
and you're like, what the heck
Like
is
her
going on?
the one where it's like, and you, you're gonna love me. Like I can't. Like she just popped
Crazy.
off, and I was like, I can't do that. Like I was like in the seat, just like.
It was nuts. I can't actually explain how nuts it was. I mean, they really didn't show the craziness that happened in Hollywood Week. I mean, it was wild. It was like every other person was just popping off. And 9 times out of 10, you're like, who the heck is this 16-year-old
Yeah.
singing her brains out right now? What is going on? It was kind of threatening. Like, if you were a person that was like very insecure, or a person that, I don't know, like, there's so much pressure going on in Hollywood Week,
Mm-hmm.
and then you see this person just sing the crap out of something, and you're like, I don't sing like that. It could be very threatening.
Yeah.
But oh, man, anyways, that it was just crazy. It was
Like
crazy.
I'm a confident person, and the first time I heard Kimmy sing, she was the first one at Hollywood Week. Like my
Oh,
whole body had shivers, and I wanted to
Same.
leave the show. Like I was like, I've never felt that threatened by
I
a
know.
singer ever. Like love Kimmy, we're like best friends, but I
Right.
at first I was like, and I saw her, and I was like, do you realize how good you are? Like I never think people are good. Like I do not get goosebumps on my body, and my whole
I
body
know.
was shook. Like
Well, there's something about, like, it has nothing to do necessarily with like arrogance or anything. It's just when you're in the music industry, you just constantly see talented people. So the
mm-hmm.
threshold of what you as another talented person see as talent is a higher degree.
Yeah.
So when you see
Yeah.
somebody like Kimmy, who literally, I don't even remember what song she sang, but literally I was like, I literally stood up and I was like, all right, I just lived down the street. I'm just going to go back to my house. Like, why am I here when that is an option?
Yeah.
But there's just something to be said. And you can, I think we've talked about this too. You can either be a person that's salty about that, or you could be a person that's excited about it. You and I tend to be just like, holy crap, that's just exciting that somebody can think, because there's always someone better than you. Yeah. There's always someone better than you. It has like, I've said this on like the podcast like multiple times, like it doesn't have to do with talent. It has to do with like connections, like really it has to do with who you know, and then just timing, the right time, the right place, and whatever. So when you meet somebody, if you meet somebody, you should just be excited the fact that they can sing something better than you.
Literally.
Because that whole, all of Hollywood Week was so stressful and so like it was just so many talented people. It was crazy. Anyways, going back to what was the thing that pulled you out of your funk? Yeah. In the beginning when you went viral, like what was the thing that you did or changed or whatever that helped you?
Yeah. In a sense, I feel like there's two things. One I would say like my mom in a way, like I never went to my mom, and she's gonna watch this now.
I'm gonna send it to her. I remember.
I never went to my mom and was like, I mean, there was a few times where I'd get really upset about something, what was going on. And like, my mom's very just like straight to the point, like, there's more to life, move on, get over it type person. But she's very just like, if you want this, you need to deal with that. And she would always just remind me why I've wanted it. And like, cause I would never give up on my dream, but there were definitely times where I was like, I need a break. Yeah. But I do want to say that, I definitely went like downhill, and then I went even like further down, and then I came back.
The depths.
Literally. Someone, like one of my best friends that was really close to me, he got in an accident on his bike or whatever, but he passed away. And so like for months I was like not doing good. I was like, bawling my eyes out every single day. Like that was like my best friend. But then I just like came to this realization that like, I'm really upset that someone called me fat and my best friend just died. Like, there's so much more to life than to sit around and hate myself for what someone else is saying about me. And I just started to really work for it and be like, life's short. Like I don't have time to sit around and be sad that someone's hating on me when I can just work harder and prove people wrong. And so I honestly think it was just, I had never had anybody like pass away in my family, like grandma's nothing, like everybody's living, thriving, everyone's healthy. Woo.
Thank God.
And then that happened. And it was just like the biggest shock to me and like all of my friends. And I think we all just learned like the biggest life lesson, and we've been like mature ever since.
And we've been mature. We are, well, now you're 17 and very mature. But no, I actually do think like, when it comes to things like that happening in your life, you actually do become very mature. And like you and I have like almost very similar backgrounds on how we grow up, even though I'm like 10 years older than you, but which is why we're kind of kindred spirits a little bit, because it kind of freaks us out to the rest of the audience. It freaks us out sometimes how like similar we are. Like it really does. We will say stuff like sometimes and we're just like, okay, that was kind of weird that like we both said that and both believed that and like whatever. But it really does, like having, again, a close friend pass away, and then also at the same time dealing with mass media, it really does make you grow up a lot quicker. And I think something that's like really powerful that you said is just putting things in perspective. Like, I had a friend pass away and somebody's calling me fat on social media. Okay, well, screw the person who's calling me fat on social media. They don't know anything. They're probably fat eating chips right now, posting that comment. Like, how dare you call me fat when you're fat? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like, putting things in perspective of being like, okay, that person means nothing. They're not in my life. They're just commenting because their life probably sucks, right? And so they're hurt people, and they're just trying to make me upset because they're upset. And then understanding is like, we only have one life to live. We never know when it's going to end. And, I have this great opportunity in front of me and I just have to like block out the haters.
Yeah. I mean, in a sense, to add to that too, like my grade 10 year, the year that my video went viral, was just like, I definitely just had a lot going on, home life, just with family members, and then my friend passing away, and then just constantly like being in the spotlight and having to be ready for interviews and making sure I say the right thing so the media doesn't twist
Right.
me in like a terrible way. And I totally mistreated so many people just because I was not in a good
Hurting.
place. And I would, yeah,
Right.
I don't want to say I would make fun of people. Like I wouldn't go tell someone they were ugly in the hallway. Like I've never
Right.
been that kind of person, but I definitely talked about people behind their backs and,
Mm,
would say things to make fun of others about things that I would be insecure about.
mm,
And it's so wrong of me. Like I don't do that anymore, of course, but I definitely went around, being like that about people. And once I got over
right.
all of that, I realized why I was being mean to people because I
Mm,
was insecure about myself. And so
mm,
I think after I just realized all of that, then I was like, okay, like these
right.
people that are commenting on my stuff and hating on me are just insecure and are sad about something in their life that they're taking it out on me because I realized that
Right.
about myself.
Yeah, exactly. The self-reflection part. Yeah, to me it's always, I'm not a person that's I would say I'm the best like empathetic person, but one of the things that I realized with people that are like, imagine the effort it takes to freaking comment on some random person's page. Okay,
Especially
you
a
watch the
15 year
video.
old.
Yeah, a 15-year-old. But imagine like I'm even relating to myself. Screw you. I'm relating to
Yeah.
myself. Like,
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. But imagine what it takes. You watch a video. You watch probably most or all of it. Okay, that already is so much effort. If you didn't like it, like for me, if I don't like a video, 2 seconds of me not liking it, next. I don't even
Yeah.
take the time to comment because I'm like, I don't like this video, next. I don't even take the time to comment. But then that person has the audacity to watch the full video, which I'm like, if you're going to watch the full video, you're a fan. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's make things, let's just like make things clear here. You watched the whole video and you commented and you either put a thumbs down or a thumbs up. To me, you're a fan. If you put that much effort
Yeah.
into some content of mine, you're straight up a fan. Like to me, it's just it's just so much effort to do that. So if you're putting in that much effort, you really must have a really crappy life right now
Hmm.
because that's the only reason why you would do that. If I gave you some bit of happiness because you commented some nasty thing on my page, cool. Like
Yeah. Yeah,
whatever.
there's even this girl, and like I understand it in a way too. Like I try to see it from like the haters' perspective, because
Mhm.
there's this girl at my school. Her name's Kenzie. I love her, but she has like in society's point of view like the perfect model body. Like
Mm.
she models and she does bathing suit ads and everything, and like every guy at my school just thinks she's so gorgeous. Like if you're like, oh, like who do you think's pretty, like they're all like
Her.
Kenzie.
Right.
And there's that small part of me every time I look at a photo of her in a bathing suit like modeling for some agency where I'm just like,
Right.
oh, like
Uh.
I'm so jealous of you, right? And
Right.
I'm never jealous enough to like put hatred into it, but I could see
Right.
from someone who's self-conscious or hurting that if they saw that,
You're like,
and like if
ugh.
I'm jealous because I'm a
Right.
confident person, I'm like, if you're getting jealous and you're self-conscious, I'm like, you're probably gonna comment something like, oh, I don't like your body.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I totally understand that too. It's like if you say something like you would probably say something, "Oh, you're too skinny." You're like,
yeah.
what's going on here? It's really what it comes down to when it comes to social media hate. And one person said like post it and don't ever look back. Like post the video and just don't ever look at anything. Like
Yeah.
because just as much as like the hurtful or hateful comments like hurt is the positive comments give you too much of an ego.
Yeah.
You start looking at, and that's the only reason why you would ever go back to a video is
Yeah.
because you want to see how all the people are commenting, be like, oh my God, this sounds amazing. Or like, how is this person not popped off yet? Or why isn't this song on the radio? And it just
Yeah.
inflates the ego. So really one person told me, it was just like, when you post something, just don't ever look
Hmm.
back. But a part of me is like, well, I feel like I want to say thank you to people. I don't want to be that person that's
Yeah.
just like, oh, this person now thinks they have a big head because they're not commenting to me. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
if there really is some truth in the fact of like, if there is something that you post, you don't want to look at
Yeah.
it either way because either way it could be detrimental to you and stopping you. Because then you could think you're too good and then you're like, well, I'm only going to post a
Yeah.
video every other week. It just ruins your
Yeah.
drive.
I find that
I'm
the
just like,
hate a lot of the time comes from like the Karens. Like
mm,
there's
interesting.
I don't think that the girls my age have the confidence to pull up on my social media and be like, you're chubby. Like, I'm
Yeah.
like, so many people would come for them. Like, my
Yeah.
fans would attack them. Like,
Yeah.
it's literally like the 40-year-old moms that go out of their way to just be like,
Right.
do you think you can sing? Question mark. And I'm like, I understand it from a young person's perspective because I'm like, you know
Right.
what? Maybe you haven't been through things in life to make you understand how that can hurt somebody. But I'm like,
Right.
if you're 40 with kids and a husband, I'm like,
Correct.
you've lived through that, so you know that that's offensive,
Right.
and you're doing that, and
You're
that is
just the
so
worst.
wrong.
First of
Like,
all, when anybody comments, do you think you know how to sing? I'm like, do you?
yeah.
Like, I literally am like, do you know how to sing? Because
Or the
Karen, I've been to
people,
your page. I've been to Wino 1150, and I'm telling you right now, you can't sing. So who are you to tell me?
or the
You
people
know?
that I like the people that what was I gonna say? No, I can't remember. Or oh yeah, the people that are like, why do you sing with emotion in your face? I'm like, that what? And so people will like vocal coaches will comment back and be like, you don't understand the art of performing.
Oh,
Like,
right. Somebody else will roast them.
like,
You know what
I'm
you
like,
should
am
do?
I supposed to stand there and be like,
You should take that comment. You should take that comment and do a TikTok video of you just no emotion
yeah,
and singing so straight face. That would be so awesome. Okay.
caption, this is why.
Right. Exactly. Okay. So, how did you discover? Because to me, like, you're a perfect person that knows, even though you're so young, you understand social media at a like each platform in its own way. And
Hmm.
I find a lot of times I will change something that I'm doing on social media just because you're like, yeah, I've been doing this. And I'm like, that's so smart. Why did I never think of that? Like, you said this like literally yesterday, and I was like, Gina, what are you thinking? Like, are you amateur hour right now? Like, what in the heck? You literally said, I was like, yeah, I'm trying to like post more and just like be consistent about it. And you were like, yeah, I found like I just post like once a day, because if I post any more than once a day, my exposure is less. And
Yeah.
so I'd rather just post once a day, the same, like close to the same time or whatever, or just once a day. Because if I post twice a day, I just don't have as much exposure, and then my like audience gets split. And I was like, why have I been posting twice a day? I literally was like, I'm an idiot. Like, I literally was like, the only reason why I was even posting twice a day was I was like, I need to get like a lot of content out there. So I need to just like build my following. And if I just post twice a day, because I was only posting once a day, like that'll do it. And then I'm
Hmm.
thinking to myself, like you said that, and I'm like, you are so dumb, Gina. Like, what were you thinking? But it's like things like that. Like, what are things that you've noticed? And we can go like different platforms, or we can just
Hmm.
go like in a general sense. But things that you've noticed that you're like, this is what I do every time, and like this is why.
Yeah. I even find I'm all for posting because it's consistently like daily. And like
Mm-hmm.
that's like I think the best method. But even there's weird things with Instagram that like if you just don't post for like a month and then randomly post a fire video, like everyone's like, oh, I missed her content. And so everyone's waiting for you to
Right.
post and then they like it. And so then I'm
Interesting.
like, then I get torn between like, do I keep my consistent content or do I just
Right.
like randomly like disappear for like a month and then come back and
Right.
just like bang viral?
Right.
But like you can't rely on that, of course, that's how I get
Mm-hmm.
to it. But I find with TikTok, I try, like, if you go on my page, you're gonna be like, she doesn't do that all the time.
Mm.
But I find, and a lot of the other influencers I talk to on there, like videos 30 seconds and under. Like, I find with Facebook, it's
Wow.
usually a minute and over. I find with Facebook, Instagram, a minute. If you post something more than a minute, then you kind of have to like, it sometimes works. You have to, click the keep watching button and people, I find it
Uh,
better if you crop the video and make it like a slide so
yeah.
then people just see it at once. But with TikTok, I like to do things under 30 seconds and make it like the most intense part of your song. Like I find when I'm scrolling TikTok, if I'm not interested in like a second, I scroll. Like if I
Mm.
just hear like piano, if I know the song, then I'm like, oh, maybe this person's gonna be good. But like I'd
Right.
rather click on your video. The second I swipe, you're singing the big note. Then I'm like, oh, they're singing it. I'm not waiting
Wow.
for
Okay.
you to sing it. So even with your songs, like if you just jump right into them,
Yeah.
then people are like instantly engaged.
Right.
And I find that with Instagram too. I love giving intros because it just sounds pretty. But I
Mhm.
find from a music perspective, we think it's pretty and we like to hear the melody and the piano and like all the instruments. But I'm like, from someone who doesn't really know music and isn't in love with it as much as
Right.
we are, like in depth, I'm like, they don't care. I'm like, they just want to hear the
This is
talent.
so crazy right now. My whole brain just exploded. I literally just made like 7 TikToks too today, and I'm like, frick, I need to cut them down to 30 seconds.
Don't get me wrong. Sometimes the minute stuff, it works.
Right, right. No,
It
but more
depends.
consistently. Yeah, more. I
Yeah.
mean, it's all about consistent. I'm trying to think too, like, what did you do for when you posted your original song? Like, you posted Crazy for You. Did you post
Yeah.
it as a minute long, or did you only post it as 30 seconds?
No, I just posted it as I don't know exactly how long it is, but it's literally just the hey, me and my friend Gina wrote the song. Let me know if you like it, and then it's just crazy for you
Wow.
to
So it
the
is
little
like 30
end.
seconds. Holy
Yeah, it
crap.
should be. But I find
Dang. I
I
gotta
find with
change my.
original music on TikTok,
Mm,
at least the ones that show up on my For You page that are viral and the ones that I do.
right.
By the way, that's actually doing even better. Like it's at like 500K views now, and like everyone's like, drop
Yay.
this. So I'm like really excited.
Dude, that's
But
so awesome. We've been
I
working on
find
trying to get Lauren to like release more original music. One, because she's got this big following, but she, obviously has done covers most of the time. So we've been trying to work on slowly getting her fan base to like, I don't know, like more, I don't want to say
mhm,
accepting because I feel like everybody wants you to release original songs, but
yeah,
more getting used to the content of her releasing more original stuff and
yeah,
getting out of the cover aspect. Because I've told you this before, like I have so many friends that have gotten
mhm,
stuck in which is good money. I mean, look, if you want to be
yeah,
a cover singer and you want to have like a big YouTube following, there is a place for that. And like that's totally cool and a vibe. But you and I have talked about how you're like, no, I want to be an artist. Like I want my own stuff, my
yeah,
own project, everything. So we've been trying to work on navigating her releasing more original music. And so,
mhm,
anyways, I was like, why don't you just post an original song just like once this week?
yeah,
Do all your other normal stuff, but just post this one song. We wrote this song called Crazy for You. And she's like, okay, I'm going to do it. So she releases it and she's like, it's actually doing pretty well. I mean, it's about like 60%, but now it's actually doing even better than that. So that makes me so happy.
yeah. I find if I post you know you can write on your TikToks.
Mm,
I find with any original song specifically, or like a song that somebody might not know, like obviously if you're gonna post like Hot and Cold by Katy Perry, like everybody knows that song, it's a banger,
right.
like people are gonna know it instantly and know the words. But like with Crazy for You too, and that girl that did the 10, 9, 8,
Yeah.
7
Yeah. Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
they write the lyrics
Mm-hmm.
on the screen. And so if they're like, oh,
Yes.
this is my song I just wrote, like I feel like it just gives the audience a more intimate thing. Like I half the
Right.
time don't know what singers are saying. When they write the words, I'm like, wow, like that's a good lyric. Like
Yeah.
especially like this guy Clinton Kane, he sang a song and I first heard him sing it and I still liked the song because the melody was really pretty. But then I saw him on his TikTok write out the words and it was like one of the lyrics was like, this clowning feeling faded into anxious breathing. And I didn't even know he said that until I read the faded into anxious breathing and I was like,
Wow.
wow, like that whole sentence is just like,
Right.
wow, like how did you come up
Mm-hmm.
with that? And so I find with original or even not original, writing the words out, not like super
Mm.
big and blocky so people are like
Yeah.
ew, but like in a cute way,
Right.
people like connect with your song more. And I also find do not post like your TikToks to your Instagram. Like post them like as a normal video
Oh,
as
separately.
you would on Instagram. But like if
Mm.
you write on your video and then
Mm.
post your TikTok written on video to Instagram, they just
It doesn't
flop.
look right.
Like
Yeah.
it's not the same. It's not the same
I
platform,
know.
different algorithm. Like it just does not work.
It does not do well at all. That's one of the hard parts too of like when you're trying to like repurpose content. You're like, okay, cool. I have this video. I can cross post it to Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Hmm.
But then you're like, well, for it to do well on TikTok, I have to add all these lyrics. But
Yeah.
then, which will then, and when I post it, will download into my saved photos album, right?
Hmm.
But now I can't post it.
Yeah. It's
So I have to
in
do
a
a
way
completely new video.
what I do is because I like to use the echo effect, but I don't want to put the written stuff on my Instagram. I
Mm.
literally click on it in my drafts, screen record it, take the video before I
Brilliant.
write on it, crop it in my camera, and then I post it to my Instagram and my Facebook, and then I
That is
edit it.
brilliant. That is really brilliant. Oh my
I know, I was getting
God.
so mad because I was like, it just lets me save it, and then it's like TikTok, TikTok, TikTok.
Right. Yeah. It's like
Record it.
everywhere. And you're like, God, I'm not trying to promote TikTok on Instagram. Like, good God. What I started doing is I started trying to do the videos, like the ones that I mentioned that I did today. I did them outside of the app. So,
Yeah.
but that's because I have like, like an editing, like I
Yeah.
have Final Cut. So I can like edit it and make it look pretty decent. And then I can use that video for anywhere. Although it is
Mhm.
in long format, that's the only thing that sucks about
Yeah.
it is, it's in long format for TikTok. But a lot of times I'm not so close up to the camera that I can't just make a square. Or,
Mhm.
some people on Instagram don't super care about if it's in long format.
Yeah.
But God, my brain is blown right now with the
Same
30
with
second thing.
no, literally. I didn't start doing that until my friend Jonathan. He has like over 1 million followers on TikTok, and
Mm.
he was like, "I'm gonna crop it though, because any video over 30 seconds for me never does well." And then I started like talking to some other people and some other people that were in like the Harmony House group chat, and they all are like popping the hell off. Like they're all famous
Wow.
on TikTok, and they were like, "Oh yeah, no, we don't do that." And I was like, "I'm gonna start doing that." And now when I do it, it works.
Yeah.
But I think
It's
we
like
talked
now
about
I'm
this.
thinking back to all your videos though. Now I'm thinking back and I'm like, it really is. All of her videos are 30 seconds long. And then you want to watch them again.
Yeah, literally. I find it works if you like post the 30-second to TikTok and then in your comments you're like full videos on Instagram or something like that. And then
Right.
you post the more fuller one to Instagram, or if you have a whole video of it, post that to YouTube, and then you're like full ones on YouTube,
Right.
because YouTube you have like the connector on your little
Yeah,
TikTok
for sure.
bio.
Yes. Yeah.
So like there's a way for people to see it if they really want to. But I
Hmm.
find TikToks, it's weird. Like we discussed this too, like with you either have to have like the shouting voice or like the Billie
Right.
Eilish soft voice. Like
Right.
those are the only two accepted
Oh my
vocals on there.
gosh.
Or you have to be like a crazy run singer. Like,
Yeah, crazy
yeah,
crazy runs wins all the time. Like literally
yeah.
my girl Maida, she just started on TikTok and I'm like, this girl's going to pop off on TikTok
Yeah.
in any day. I'm out here hustling, like all these different things and she
Hmm.
could just sing runs like nobody's
But
business and she is going to pop off. The other girl too, the one that we were talking about that does like her original songs, which I'm wondering, I'm trying to think too if her like videos are all under 30 seconds. I'm going to check today. I'm like so curious.
hmm.
But she has that classic soft Billie Eilish, "Love me up,"
Yeah.
like the little like you know what I'm talking about? That's what she does. And it's every song she does it. I'm like, okay. But all that to be said,
Yeah.
it works for her. It make like all of her songs on TikTok have like
Yeah.
100K, 300K likes. I mean, it's just
But what's weird too about Instagram and TikTok is that, like, I mean, I just find this, I don't know, people will be like, that's not true, but I find this is where people are going to expose me. But either TikTok, like, get people to film you, like, get someone to pretend to walk in the room
right
and
while
you're
you're singing.
singing. You didn't know they
So
were
true.
filming every time. Or, like, if you stand a really far distance away from your camera,
Mhm.
goes viral. Like if you like your natural stuff goes viral on TikTok,
That's
or if you
interesting.
like mood set it to like really dark lighting and like half of your face piano write the words. I have not yet seen one of those that like didn't go viral. Like
Wow, that's so true.
I
I literally thought about that the other day because I was like, even the one with you and your brother in the car.
mhm.
It's like, okay, your brother's like acting in
Yeah,
that. Like the
honestly.
worst actor ever, first of all. Okay, and I'm like, okay, this is like definitely staged, right? But then I'm looking at this video and I'm like, this video has like 1 million views. What the frick?
But like,
The video
yeah, because
straight up went viral.
even if he's like like pretending, like we're still in a car and it's still like a natural
Yes.
setting and people can see that. But I find any video that I do, even sometimes for Instagram a little bit,
Mhm.
but especially TikTok, if I like set up good lighting and look good, like it gets no views, and I'm like, I
Right.
put so much effort into
For
this.
I put makeup on for this.
And you just want me to sing in my car and be off key. Like,
I know. Oh my gosh. Dang. Okay. There are so many nuggets in what you just said in the last like 15 minutes. This is why people, you never knock the youngins ever.
facts.
Because
Social media is my era, bro.
they know. Well, it's like, it's technically it's my era
Yeah.
as well, but it started with my era. So like
Yeah.
there was a lot of like testing and like different things to be done to make it kind of what it is
Mhm.
today. Like literally Facebook came out when I was in junior high.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
like when
start of Facebook.
Instagram came out for me.
Yeah, and then Instagram came out when I was in college. So it was the start of this like very new
Mhm.
thing, like whatever. And now it's, now it's this beast, and now you have like other people doing spin-offs of different social medias and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But which is kind of, as an adult, hard to keep up with because you've got so many things going on in your life. But
Mhm.
I constantly try to tell people, I'm like, look, the young people know where it's at. Like
Yeah.
the children, God's children know like what's going on. And I think that's like one of the reasons too why I connected so much with the minors in On American
Mhm.
Idol, because literally everybody my age, and actually honestly people younger than me, it was like the 22 to 25 year
Mhm.
olds, they were like, no, I'm not on TikTok. I'm like,
For
what?
real, bro.
I'm
For
like, you're
real.
already late. Like you are past late.
I was late. I was
Yeah, you
late.
were like, because I put you on TikTok. I was like, what are you doing? You need to be on TikTok.
Like I was like,
You
I
were
hate
like,
TikTok.
yeah,
Like
you were like, I don't like TikTok. Like, I don't like, I'm like, and I looked you dead in the face. I was like, if you don't get your childish butt on
yeah.
TikTok right now, I'm
I
like,
just
I'm
always
telling
knew it.
you.
I knew it as Musically and not TikTok. Like the whole platform's
Right.
changed completely
Yes.
since Musically and
Absolutely.
TikTok. And I never had Musically. And then when I started to realize what TikTok actually was, there was just
Right.
like this stigma on it at my school. Like you either had TikTok or you didn't. And there was like two cults with it.
Right.
And
Facts.
I was literally in the cult that was like, what, like, ew, TikTok. And then I really started to
Right.
see that it was just another social media platform. And I was like,
Mm.
I need to get on this. But you
Right.
only learn. I only know what I know, and I only know how to use Facebook and stuff now because of my viral video. I was like, oh, I have to learn. But
Right.
just from being on it for so long now and like constantly studying it, and I always, anytime I have a viral video, I'm like, okay, what's different about this one compared to the rest that I can like continue to be
Interesting.
consistent about? Like with my viral
Right.
video, I'm like, that's because it's natural. 6 months later, I went out and was like, okay, I'm gonna try posting another car video. That one got 7 million views. I went out 6 months later because okay, don't know who's phoning me. Sorry. Just like whatever. Seven. I still hadn't really wrapped my head around like, is it the car thing or was it just the song? And
Right.
then I upload a video of me singing for 20 seconds in the car on TikTok, and it's my first TikTok to hit 2 million. And I'm like, okay, so it's a car thing,
Car thing.
but it's
Right.
just the fact that you're natural, or like mid video if your friend interrupts you, people are like, oh, she didn't set that up and redo it 20 times. Like
Right.
she's
Exactly.
just doing it, and people like
Mhm.
to see like the rawness and the authenticity of it. But
They do. They absolutely. Yeah, and I think another thing that you said is really smart, and like again, this is what very mature social media people do. Like people that have degrees, this is what they say, even though you've learned it on your own, is you have to try a bunch of different content to see what is working and what's not. Like,
yeah.
okay, let me try 10 car videos. Is it a car thing, or is it just like the fact that I'm not wearing makeup thing? Okay, let me try me not wearing
Hmm.
makeup in my bedroom. Like, you know what I mean? You have to
Yeah.
try all these different things to really figure it out. And I think that that's one of the most important things about social media and about being consistent, because when you're consistent about posting content, then you have all this data that you can look over and be like, okay, this did really well because of this did really well because of this, and you have all these different options to choose from, and then you can kind of collectively put together and be like, oh, it is a car thing.
Yeah.
I've posted like 10 videos and they've gone viral, and I was
Hmm.
all in a car. Like I posted it
Yeah.
while I had makeup on, while I didn't have makeup on, like with my friends, not with my friends. It
Yeah.
literally is just a car thing.
It's literally because I've posted so much since, especially since my viral video. But
Mhm.
that's the only reason I know is because I
Right.
posted so much to look at it and see. Like the first year that I was posting, I did just have a lot of momentum from, my viral video being on Steve Harvey, like I did have a lot of momentum that was keeping like people engaged with my content.
Right.
And then when it kind of started to slip because I was losing that, big thing of fame, oh yeah, I just did all that. And it started to just go down and I was getting like less comments. I was like, okay, like I need to look into this. And then I was just
Mm.
doing stuff in the car, doing stuff here, doing stuff there. And like I know singing in my bedroom does not work for me. No one likes it. It does not work.
Right.
Like anything natural that I'm standing far away, someone videotapes me, I'm in a group setting, I'm in a car, like that's what people like about me. People like that I'm natural and I'm pretty open and I'm like
Right.
goofy and weird and I'm not trying to hide who I am as a person. And like
Right.
people like that. And I've just discovered that only because I've studied it over like a 2-year period.
Yeah, absolutely. And you studied it in hyper mode too. I mean, it wasn't in
Yeah.
like like a lot of people would think like 2 years is like a really short amount of time, but it really comes down to the hour amount. A lot of times
Yeah.
people say like, you become a master with 10,000 hours. Okay, well, if you put 5,000 hours in 2 years, you're already like
For
halfway
real.
there. So
Yeah.
it's not really an annual thing. And I should say that a little hesitantly because I always talk about how in the music industry it really does take like 10 years to get somewhere typically, like
Hmm.
no matter what period or what year that you started. You could start at 15 or you could start at 25. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's for some reason in this industry it does take 10 years, but I think it's because the 10,000 hours probably comes with the 10 years. So
Yeah.
if you're on beast mode, like you might get there a lot sooner. Like for you, it's like you went in beast mode for like 2 years, and it's like now you have all this information and stuff, which is just crazy. But
Yeah.
there's so much to unpack in that. I'm literally floored right now.
I just
Like my gears in my brain are just like spazzing out.
Yeah, I love giving it. Like my friend who, like two people actually, my friend Jackson, he was on World of Dance. He's a hip hop dancer. He has a deal with my friend Carlo, and like they are insane. Like they're like they pop, they like so good, and they're always posting on TikTok, and they're like, "How do you do it?" And I hate. I want to go to them. I did, and I was like, start it right when the dancing starts. Like I think that's gonna be what it is. I'm gonna scroll and see. Wow, he just popped. Oh, he just popped again. Like
Right.
immediately instead of waiting for the beat to drop because if I
Mm-hmm.
don't know you're good I might just scroll through.
Right.
And like they're always super open. They're like, what can we do, let us know. But I know that there's people that I want to give advice to because I love their voice and I want them to be bigger, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to give advice if they don't want it because they might
Right.
take it from a different perspective. And
Absolutely.
so it's hard to just like I want to help people, but like I keep
Right.
telling Louis to be on TikTok because he's singing a lot in parking
He
lots right
finally
now,
did.
right?
I saw one of his TikToks. I was like, oh, okay, finally started.
I told him, I was like, you singing in parking lots is so like authentic and natural. I was like, if I saw like you were like sang change in Walmart parking lot today, if I saw that, I'd be like, he's just singing in a parking lot. Like what?
Right, exactly.
Like I was like,
So
bro, like that's
true.
the content that would get me viral. So I'm like, you should try it. Like,
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
keep hounding him every day, like, where's the TikTok? Where's the TikTok? I'm
Where
like,
is it? Where's the TED Talk?
but even too, many of the people that I'm working with right now that are, higher up in the industry, I would say,
Mhm.
all keep telling me like, like even labels, they're just like, everyone we're finding is on TikTok. Every single A&R person is on TikTok. Instagram, behind. Like
Behind.
maybe occasionally they're on
Right.
it. I was like, but they're like, everyone we're finding, everyone, writers, producers, they're like, they're on TikTok trying to find
Mhm.
people. I'm like, get your ass on TikTok or you ain't going nowhere.
So true. It really is true. I mean, Instagram just plateaued. Like that's the thing about it. Like you still go on Instagram and there's still like a lot of people, especially from like my generation and
Yeah.
obviously like your parents and my parents' generation, they love Facebook because they've,
Yeah.
that's the first thing that they got a taste of. And they're like, now they're starting to dabble into Instagram or whatever.
They
But
don't know how to work
Instagram,
it.
yeah, they don't know how to work it. Like Instagram is really plateaued. And,
A
I
couple of
don't,
the moms skipped Instagram. Like
yeah,
they're
now
just on
people are just
TikTok.
going straight to TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I'm like, heck yeah. Like the more older people that get on TikTok, the better it is for me. My biggest problem was like every time I made a TikTok, I would make a joke, but the joke was very like for my age group.
Outdated,
like I made
yeah.
like I made a joke like I can't remember the soundbite that was popular, but I made this joke of like, you know, when you need to get surgery and you're like, oh, I shouldn't get surgery, it's going to cost me so much money, and then you're like, but you realize you're on your parents' insurance still, and I'm like, yeah, right. But that's like a joke for my age group, like, because when you at least in America, when you hit 26, you're not allowed to be on your parents' insurance anymore. So like that's like a joke for my age group, but literally that video didn't do very well, and it was like really good. It was a really good video, like probably one of the best videos I did, like looks wise and like my edits and stuff. But I was like, dang, there's too many young people on TikTok.
All the 14-year-olds don't know what the hell benefits
they're like,
are,
why is she, she's, of course she's on
What's
her mom's insurance. Yeah, like what in the heck? I was just like, oh God. But no, that honestly, a lot of the things you said have so much merit to it. One, not just because of your status and, you know, like where you're at social media wise, but just like from the perspective of a person that consumes media at like the highest form, like your age group consumes media at the highest form. And so there was just so many great things in there. I'm literally going to watch this video back because I'm like, I should have taken notes. I almost started taking notes. I was like, okay, 30 seconds. Like I was like starting to write them all down in my head.
I was saying it. I was like, you are so knowledgeable in this area. Like, I didn't even notice. And I just listed all these things and I was like, I just subconsciously know this in the back of my brain. And I don't know until someone's like, hey, can we talk about social media? And then I start like laying out all these things and I'm like, wow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, I mean, I think it just comes because you've just been in it. You've been in it for a decent amount of time, even though you're young. Again, you've been on beast mode for the last like 2-3, honestly, if you even talk about when you were 12, I mean, that was probably a start of something.
Yeah. I mean, I've been on the YouTube game since I was 11.
Yeah.
Like that was really where it started.
We do need to talk about your YouTube next. You're getting the views, but we gotta get on that.
My Keith Urban video had hit, I think it's at like 4 million views now, but at the time when I was 11, it was at like 2 million. Yeah. And then I got like a bunch of subscribers from that. And then other than that, I've had like 1 or 2 videos that hits over a million. Yeah, I was slacking on that, but
we need to get that up, but it's all right. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Well, first of all, tell everybody like what are you moving towards? What are you excited about? Also like where they can find you, all those different things. Give the spiel.
Well, I'm excited for the borders to open in Canada so I can go to LA.
So you can come see me.
Yeah, so I can hang out with Gina. I have a bunch of cool people, can't name names, but that have reached out to me that I'm super excited to work with down in LA, just on original music. Totally steering in the original music way of things. I don't want to be a cover artist. I love singing covers for everybody, but I'm sorry, that's going away.
We want original music.
The amount of times I've seen that, like I'll go on a phone call with someone really important and they're like,
this makes me laugh.
And they're just like, so our only thing is that like, we think you need original content. And I'm like, oh, I know. Like,
look,
you gotta tell me.
Look, you trick.
Like literally.
Look, I know I need original music, all right? I don't need you to tell me I need original music.
I'm gonna grow an original music tree later. Right. Thank you. No. So I'm excited to just come down to LA and work on original music. But I don't remember the rest of the question.
Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on every social media platform at Lauren Spencer Smith. Other than my Twitter, it is I am Lauren Music because my username is more than 16 characters. So Twitter, if you're watching this, please change the settings because I have been upset about it since day one. LSS is taken, Lauren Sings is taken, like you name it, it's taken.
Bro, somebody has Gina Music on Instagram and it makes me so mad because people follow her instead of following me. Like literally friends of mine. Like
do you have YouTube? Do you have like the YouTube topic that like someone like created?
I don't know.
I have like a fake Lauren Spencer Smith that has like 10K subscribers and it's
Wow.
not me. And they post my
Wow.
videos, and a part of me is like, okay, you're just getting my name out there. If they search my name
Right.
on any other platform, they're gonna
They'll
find
find
me.
me. Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, it's
I've had
fine.
people like lip sync, which I know you've had this happen too. Like
Yeah.
people lip sync to my videos acting like it's them. And I'm like, yours are way
So
better than
obvious.
mine. The people that are lip syncing to yours are way better. The people that lip sync to mine are like freaking crackheads that aren't
Yeah.
even like singing in tempo. I'm like, you thought watching this back that it looked like you singing this? Give me a break.
I love when people do that though, and then like my followers find out, and then they just like go
Right.
and
They're
just
like,
like
this isn't
attack the person.
her.
And then I receive like apologies from people, and they're like, I hope you know I didn't know it was gonna go viral. I never meant for
Right.
it to
You're
be.
like,
And I'm
change it
just
to
like,
fan page.
yeah. I'm always like, don't worry about it. Like most people know it's my voice. Like it's
Right.
fine. But
I'm like,
it's funny.
yo, at Gina Music, give me the Gina Music handle, please. Like literally friends of mine, like Nitty Gritty follows Gina Music and doesn't follow me. And I'm like,
Oh
every
my
time,
god.
which is annoying because if you're not friends with somebody that has like a certain amount of following, you can't just like comment on like certain stories or whatever. So you
Oh
just don't
yeah.
see them. So I'm constantly having to go to, if I want to message something about his story, I would have to go to his page, click message, and then be like, that was a funny story. Like, I'm like, this is so ridiculous. Anyways, all that to be said, there were so many little freaking golden nuggets in that. Everybody, I try to give everybody like a little, not a to-do list or like a homework thing, but like apply what you've learned,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So apply what Lauren has said, especially on the timing of your posts. That was like really, really smart.
Hmm.
Try that and see if it's like a success or not. I'm definitely
Yeah.
gonna try it. That's like literally the next TikTok you see is gonna be 30 seconds
Yeah.
long.
And same with too, this is just random thing at the end. Try it. Like I know that the majority of my following, super weird, it's in the States, but it's in New York. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't post at 9 p.m. PST when I know it's midnight and people are sleeping in New York. Like I'm like,
Facts.
if that's where my followers are at, I post at a time that's convenient for the people that
Right.
live in those areas. Like
Yeah.
obviously a lot of my followers are from the United Kingdom too. So I try to post at a time where maybe it's 6 p.m. in New York and it's only 9 or 10 in the UK. So like people
Right.
are still, it can fit all my time zones that people like.
Yeah.
But just like don't be posting at like 8 a.m. in the morning. Like who?
Right. Who does that? Nobody's seeing
Yeah.
that.
No.
I actually when I first started on TikTok, for some reason my biggest following was in like Finland and the best time to post
Oh
was like
yeah.
1 a.m. And I was like, I'm not going to hit
I need
any of this
sleep.
US market.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like dead. I'm knocked at that point.
Yeah.
And then it was like 1 a.m. and 4 a.m. I was like, okay, 4 a.m. is just not happening. So 1 a.m. we can do. Anyways, guys, that is the podcast for today. Thank you, Lauren, so much for coming on here. You are literally the bestest ever. I'm so happy you're on American Idol. Literally. I'm like,
I know. I
even
don't
if
know what I would do
everything on
if I
American
didn't meet you.
I know, same. I'm like, literally, I think I'm like, if I only did American Idol just to meet Lauren, that would be worth it. Like straight up, it would be worth it.
People, I get so many messages being like, should I go on it? And I'm like, I still wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't met some of the people I'm like, even I met my lawyer through Idol. I met you. Like,
Yeah.
like, you're so easy for me because we're friends, like easy to reach out to, like, let's write. And you're like, okay,
Right.
3 days. Like, if I want to write with some of the bigger people that I'm now connected with, like, it's got to be a whole entire, like, really planned out setup thing. I got to go
Yeah.
down where it's like you, it's like, yo, let's Zoom, let's do it.
Right,
And we
exactly.
finish it in like 2 hours. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
and that
it's
just
awesome.
comes with friendships. You know what I mean? When you make
Hmm.
friendships with like real connections with people and you're like, okay, cool. I know you're on your way up. I know I'm on my way up. How can we just like connect and join
Hmm.
forces with the skills that we have? You know what I mean? Your skills are clearly singing and content. I'm like, cool, I can sing a little bit and also I know how to write. So let's join together and do some stuff. But all that to be said, though, literally, you are probably one of my closest friends from the show. So thank you so much for coming on here and just being the awesome person that you are. I know a lot of people, I mean, who cares about a lot of people? I just learned a lot from this whole conversation.
For real.
So thank you so much. And you guys, that is the podcast. We'll see you next Monday. Peace.